Hello, welcome to BJA Today, and I'm BJ Arnett. Well, once again, I have the opportunity, the joy really, to be at the International Christian Film Festival. So the sounds that you hear are films from all over the globe, and they're exciting, they're interesting, they're faith-based, they're Christian, they're all about Jesus, so we kind of like them. My guest today on BJA Today is someone that I've known for a long time, and you have too. Since 1985, she's been a part of your story, a part of film history, if you will, iconic history. She is the one who has the biggest voice and the tiniest body. Let me just say that. She's like this big. Her name is Maria Howell. Maria, thank you so much for being here.
It is a joy to be with you, spending quality time with you.
I know,
Thank
right?
you. Thank you.
We have been friends for a long time. And the first time I saw you really was in that film, that little tiny film that affected so few people in America.
It was such a little film.
It was just such a little film called The Color Purple. And she was this little tiny woman on the front row of the choir singing this big, big song, bursting out of the seams of who you are.
If I were you, I would say, yeah. Speak, Lord. Speak to me. I was so blind. I was so lost until you spoke to me.
But that's only a part of who you are. You're an actress, producer, director, writer, and an incredible, incredible voice. Your voice is amazing. But you're also an educator, and
Yes.
I love all of the things that you are. Tell us about what it was like to come through a family with sisters and incredible career in your vision.
Well, you know, it's one of those things where I knew what I wanted to do, or let's say it was placed in my heart at the age of 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember, it's like it happened yesterday. I was looking in a mirror. Of course, my size, I had to stand on something to look in that mirror, but I looked in that mirror nonetheless. And I remember the voice of God. I didn't know what it was then, but I just knew there was a knowing of you're going to grow up and be a singer and an actress. And that's that. Now, of course, I went to college and studied pre-med.
And said, why am I there?
Yeah, you know, but I've always loved science and biology and things of that nature. But I always kept singing in church, in high school, in college, and so on and so forth. And then The Color Purple happened.
And that's a life-changing moment. When that film hit the industry, African-American actors had not been put in such an incredible position to tell a story that was heartwarming and hard, all at the same time, gritty and joyous.
Absolutely.
And even down to, and when I say gritty, I mean down to the most painful things.
Yeah. Oh, it disrupted a lot of emotions.
It really disrupted it. From 1 minute, I'm watching it, and I was extraordinarily excited and happy. Okay, she's away from her father, and then the next minute, I'm like, wait a minute, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It was definitely that moment in filmmaking that you knew we had moved to another space.
Oh, yeah.
As actors, as producers, as directors, in filmmaking, you had moved to another place. You were a part of that historic movement.
Yeah. And it's interesting that being on set, I didn't know what A Color Purple was. I actually read the book while we were filming. A lot of people don't know that. And, and I had to go through several audition levels to get to the soloist spot. I had no idea what I was doing because I went to a cattle call. And to this day, I don't know what I was auditioning for. Now,
Really?
I don't know. It's just that at the end of the audition, the end of the cattle call, I went to the casting director and I said, oh, would you keep my photo on file? Notice I said photo, not headshot. I didn't know what a headshot was, okay?
We all were there.
And so I did that, and I said, oh, and by the way, I sing. And she says, oh, well, what do you know? And the only song I could think of at that moment was God Bless the Child. And I sang it in her ear with my hand cupped, because I'm an introvert. People don't know that.
Yes,
but,
yes.
I was a little shy, and I sang that, and she said, well, do you know any gospel? And I said, okay. So I went and I got something prepared, put me back up on stage. That was my screen test. I had no idea what was happening.
Oh, my goodness.
24 years later, I come to find out that I did not fit the specs.
Wow.
They wanted a different description of the choir soloist, but the person that chose me, Quincy Jones' assistant, he said, I want her because she reminds me of my mom who was on the choir.
I love it.
You're talking about divine intervention, and that's it. I left it at that.
When you look back, you realize what God had done in that amount of time.
Absolutely.
That is like unheard of. You know, we have only just scratched the surface of who you really are and where all of this has led you and all that you've seen in those years. You were a mere baby when you got up there.
Thank you.
You really were.
Thank you.
You really, we're going to leave it at that.
We're going to leave it right there.
We're going to leave that right there. But the things that you were able to see just in that production alone led you to see so much more.
Yeah.
You've done a lot more than The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And people just simply know you from that because you were the little tiny lady on the front row with the big, big voice. You guys, we're going to make a segment 2 to this because there's just so much to unpack. I really have to say that when you look at the history of The Color Purple, you're looking at something that was transformative in film. And it transformed many of our lives as African-American producers, directors, writers, and of course actors. So you stay tight to your seat because Maria Howell has so much more to tell us because the journey has been deep, it has been long, and it has been filled with the joys, the pain, and the growth that God has given. Amen.
Amen.
It's just such a cool thing to be able to talk to somebody you really know, that you know. And I have been trying to get her here to the International Christian Film Festival for several years, and I'm just so glad she is here. So you stay tight. We'll be right back.